Good morning, everybody. Please have a seat. And close those mouths. Thank you. So, I hope the morning is as good for you as it is for me. We will start with some announcements before we begin with the official program. First of all, yesterday there was a request from Tom that Maria will present the balance sheet compared to the years before, but this we unfortunately couldn't be able to do today, so we will do it by tomorrow morning session. And then Tibor has an announcement from the organizers.
Good morning, everybody. How was the party, Hungarian night? Awesome. Well, the organizers asked me to tell you the following thing. Please, everybody, listen. It's very important. One thing is we have here paintings on the wall. Those are worth 100 million forint. So please take care if you pass by those. Also, don't apply stickers. And another thing is, this is really important, there are still a lot of people who did not register themselves, pay the participation fee. So I'd like to ask you for a last time to come to the registration office. Just across the hallway, there is the room of the organizers team. There you can register yourself in the first break. Thank you.
Thank you, Tibor. So, time to officially open today, and we start by opening point number 24, Quorum of the Council and enlistment of the votes by proxy.
Wir ziehen durch die Straßen und die Clubs dieser Stadt.
So, please, again, the delegates stand up first so we can clearly see if they are there, then the rest can join in. Logo Group Aachen. Thank you. Local Group Ankara Bilkent. Thank you. Local Group Ankara Metu. Thank you. Logo Group Aveiro. Thank you. Logo Group Barcelona. Thank you. Logo
Local group Belgrade. Thank you. Local group Berlin. Thank you. Local group Braunschweig. Perfect. And Bremen. Thank you. Brussels. Thank you. Local group Bucharest. Thanks. Local group Budapest. Thank you. Local group Calabria. Thank you. Local group Cambridge is excused. They will come at the weekend. Local group Kios is excused. Local group Quorum. Thank you for efficiency. Local group Darmstadt. Thank you. Dortmund. Thank you, and Dresden. Danke. Eindhoven. Thank you. Local group Enschede. Thank you. Local group Famagusta is excused. Local group Gdansk is excused. Local group Gothenburg. Thank you. Local group Graz. Thank you. Local group Grenoble. Thank you. Local group Groningen. Thank you. Local group Hamburg. Thank you. Local group Helsinki. Thank you. Local group Ilmenau. Thank you, Paderborn, Ilmenau. Local group Istanbul, Bozaji. Thank you for your efficiency. Istanbul, ITU. And Istanbul, Yildiz. İzmir, DEU. İzmir Economy. Thank you for efficiency. Local 10. Thank you. Local group Karlsruhe. Thank you. Local group Karlstad. Thank you. Local group Kaunas. Thank you. Local group Kiev. Local group, thank you. Local group Gagurevats is proxied by Novi Sad. Local group Krakau. Thank you. Local group Kran. Oh, thank you. Local group Lappenranta. Thank you. Local group Linköping. Thank you. Local group Lisbon. Thank you. Local group Romeo. And local group Wind. Thank you. Local group Lyon. Thank you. Local group Madrid. Thank you for your efficiency. Local group Milan. Thank you, it's present. Local group Minsk. Thank you. Local group Moscow. Local group München. Thank you. Local group Novi Sad. Oh, thank you. Local group Please. Wherever you are. Thank you. Local group Paderborn. Awesome. Thank you for your efficiency. Local group Porto. Thank you. Local group Poznan.
Thank you. Local group Riga. Thank you. Local group St. Petersburg. Thank you, Heaven. Local group Seville. Thank you. Local group Siegen. Thank you. Local group Skopje. Thank you. Local group Sofia. Thank you. Local group Stockholm. Local group Tampere. Can I see the Tampere delegates? Tampere delegates. Thank you. Local group Trondheim. Local group Vasa. Thank you. Local group Vienna. Thank you for efficiency. Local group Vilnius. Thank you. Local group Warsaw. Thank you. Local group Xanthi. Thank you. Local group Zagreb. Thank you. Local group Zürich is excused. I would like to say hello to our guest local groups. Local group Baku. Thank you. Local group Catania. Thank you. Local group Tallinn. Thank you. Local group Turgu Murish. Thank you. Now I would also welcome our guests from BEST. Thank you. The guests from Forum 2080. Our guests from the Virginia Tech University. Thank you. And our guests from VWI. Thank you. That's it.
First of all, thank you everybody for partying so hard yesterday and still being fresh here. Nobody missing. I'm really proud of you. And thanks a lot to the Wake Up Committee, who is doing a good job, apparently. So, time to close. Point number 35, quorum of the council and enlistment of the votes by proxy, and open point number 34, applications. No. I'm on the wrong day. I'm closing point number 24, quorum of the council, and opening point number 25, update on strategic developments.
Das ist unsere Nacht, wie für uns war.
Good morning, everyone. Now me and Maria will update you on the developments made in the field of strategic planning. As we mentioned earlier yesterday during our board report, one of the achievements we made this year was to create some actions to get a strategic plan for the whole organization. And the reason behind all these actions is that throughout the year we noticed that most of the things that we discuss are repeating themselves. So if we want to find a permanent solution for this kind of problems, then we have to set a direction for the organization and create a strategic plan. Therefore, the STEAM College was dedicated to create a basis for the strategic plan. And what was done there was that we worked on the revision of vision, mission, and the core values of STEAM. We made the SWOT analysis, and based on the SWOT analysis made, we defined the focus areas. So we made the SWOT analysis and focus areas also defined. Now we are in the phase of getting input and opinion from you STEAMers. We already started a forum thread on the forum, and we also created a survey which can be found under the board page to get some input. And also, during the first round of the coordination meeting in this autumn, we dedicated 2 hours of session to introduce all those focus areas that we came up with and gather some input from STEAMers. And now the plan is to analyze all these inputs till the upcoming round of coordination meetings. And during the upcoming round of coordination meetings, we will sit together and create some concrete action points based on all the ideas came up during the coordination meetings. And hopefully, the plan is to get this plan done by the council meeting in Riga and propose it to the council in the council meeting in Riga.
So, maybe it's better if I whisper. After brainstorming sessions and so. After profound discussions, we came up with a SWOT analysis. And for each item, with 6 of them, after reading them.
So here on this table you can see all the areas that we strengths, weaknesses, opportunities and threats. And they can also be found on the portal. And as for the focus areas, the first area that got most of the votes from the participants of the college was the finances. This was identified as the biggest problem of the organization. Therefore, the goal is to provide equal opportunities for all the STEAMers, for actives, for normal participants, for all the people that we have in the network. And this also goes hand in hand with lowering the participation fee for people, so people can also travel to STEAM events and also attend. And the second area that we identified being one of the most important things for STEAM to focus for the future is the image of STEAM towards the students that we have internally and also towards external organizations. And we would like to ensure that STEAM is recognized by global youth and also the external stakeholders. And the further steps should be taken towards this. And the third area that we identified being one of the most important was the HR management and development. Because what we noticed that there are some project committees and initiatives where you can find a lot of members active, whereas there are some project committees and initiatives where they are having some problems finding people to get some work done. And also, people don't really know how to get active in STEAM, so there is no concrete plans related to HR management in STEAM, therefore this should be created. And fourth focus area is the service development. We have a lot of projects, there's a lot of activities being done in the field of education as well, so we thought that all these areas should be developed further. And what we also identified as one of the strengths of the organization was our unique projects like Times and Magazine. And we thought that these projects and all the other projects and everything that we do, every kind of service that we provide the students with should be developed further. And the last but not least, gap between the local and central level should be also closed. Therefore, then further steps should be taken. And what we noticed was that people who are active on the local level don't really know how to get active on the central level. And we also noticed that all the materials that are used on the local level are not really monitored by the PR of the central level. So we don't really know if the logo they are using, if the materials that they are using are actually compiling with our PR image, STEAM's image. Therefore, this should be also worked on. And what we wanted to collect the ideas was that during these 2 hours of session at the coordination meetings, we asked these questions. How could a team develop these ideas, these areas? And we gathered the ideas on paper. And the second question was that how could this respective project committee or initiative play a part in developing these areas? Thank you very much for your attention.
Now questions? I guess the presentation was so good that everything is clear and nobody has any questions. Okay, thank you. So, time to close point number 25, update on strategic developments, and then open a really hot topic, point number 26, proposal for changes in the internal regulations.
Ich schließe meine Augen, lösche jedes Tabu, Küsse auf der Haut, so wie ein Liebestattoo. Oh, oh, oh.
Okay, guys, dear Seamers, good morning, everyone. I hope no one has a hangover. Because we have one of the important things which you will have to vote on upon later this council meeting. I'm going to present to you the proposals for change in the internal regulations. Please, even while it's early in the morning, please pay very close attention because it's like very important but very hard to get material. What are the internal regulations? The internal regulations shape the boundaries and limits of the organization. They're created by article proposals from the board and from esteemers. Well, changes and exceptions from the internal regulations have to be presented, have to be approved by the council. That's why I'm presenting this to you. And their guidelines to structure the work of the board, the committees, the projects, like actually everything in the organization. So this is our agenda. We have quite a few changes prepared for you. Yeah, we start with the small changes. Usually there's only a few words changing. Yeah, and the meaning of the thing doesn't really change, but we felt that there was a need to update them. Okay, we first have Article 4.1. It's about the organization of the council meeting. Yeah, it's stated, that article states what has to be done, how the council meeting is organized, and that there has to be an agreement with the board. The last years it was not clear if that is a thing, if there was actually an agreement, so we are proposing to change it to have a written agreement. And that this agreement should be signed at least 6 months before the start of the council meeting. Well, this is committees of the board. As you all heard before, project leaders have to be associated with a member of a team. And committee leaders, there was nothing defined about that in the internal regulations. We thought, like, let's make this consistent, and we propose to change it to also have the committee leaders associated with a member of a team. The next proposal is in Article 7. It's projects. There has been a case in CM Belgrade that there were 2 people applying for project leader, that there would be 2 project leaders for 1 project. There's nothing defined in the internal regulations what should we do then, because it's always talking about the project leader. We want to change this to a project leader in Article 7.3.1 and Article 7.3.2 to make sure if there are 2 project leaders that they both have to have the same things, the same requirements. Then point 12. There was actually a spelling mistake in it, but that's not the... Well, we also changed that. Like, there was... the members of the board of recommendation shall accept their appointment by give esteem a letter of recommendation. But it's actually giving, so we changed that. But there was also nothing defined about what happens with the letter of recommendation when the board members of the board of recommendation are discharged. So we added that the same thing will happen as when they resign, so that esteem cannot use their letter of recommendation anymore. Okay, this one is a bit more complicated, I guess. We want to include guest groups in the IR, and we've also made some other changes, small changes to observers and membership. This is all in Article 9. As you can see, there are quite a lot of proposals. Usually they are quite small changes, but yeah, let's start. Okay, we start with 9.1. 9.1 explains how to get a status like observer or member or guest, and what you should do to apply for it. So we start with 9.1.1. This is a completely new article. It states like how groups can apply for guest status, and it's by handing in a complete application to the board, and the granting will be done. The granting of the guest group guest status will be by decision of the board together with the members committee. But the members committee is not defined in the internal regulations, so, and eventually the board has to approve it. So that's 9.1.1. 9.1.5. It is when groups can request a certain status, like you have to fulfill some requirements to go to the next status. It only said something about an observer. An observer may request membership at any time. We felt a need to change this actually to this. A group may request guest status at any time, but a group may request observership at any time after attending at least one council meeting as observer. So that a guest group cannot immediately apply for observer at their first council meeting. The same is for members, for observer becoming members. They first have to attend one council meeting as observer before they can become members. Article 9.1.6. That says how long a guest group can hold their status of guest. We had like, a kind of problem that guest groups are like staying in Esteem forever and not like applying for observership or leaving a network, while we are actually wanting that all groups eventually or become member or leave the network. That's why we added this. If the guest group does not apply for observership after being a guest for 3 council meetings, they are excluded from the network. 9.1.7. The time measurement for the maximum time that a group could be observer, it was measured in years, being like 2 years. Years is actually not that much used in Esteem, and it's quite weird, because like 2 years, if there's a council meeting like within a half a year, then you could argue some things. But we decided to change it to council meetings, so they can attend 4 consecutive council meetings. If they do not apply, they are also excluded from the network. But because there was a case with Barcelona who felt like they weren't ready for membership yet, We also added the line that observers can apply again for observership, but this, of course, has to be approved by the council. 9.2, we're over half of it. We just added guest groups to the restrictions on observers. The restriction on guests are the same as on observers. 9.3, the criteria for guest and observer status. Groups are added, and we also added that a group first has to be guest before they can become observer. 9.4, it was like one large pile of text. We changed it to some bullet points which exactly say the same as in the text, except for one. We added that an observer group should already fulfill the requirements of Article 8.2, which you will see in the next slide, at the time of its application. And 8.2 is the obligations of members, like have organized at least an event in the last 2 years and such. That's 9.4. Okay, now we're going to the last point, Article 10. It's about improving the transparency. 10.2. Well, we wanted to make sure that all members already know the budget before they go to the spring council meeting. So we added the following, that a draft of the budget, that the budget should be sent with including an elaboration at least 7 days before the council meeting. But because people always have remarks on it, there will also be draft budget sent to the members 28 days before the council meeting. Within the time between the 28 days before the council meeting and 7 days before the council meeting, people can recommend options to the board to change the budget in this and this way. To make this actually possible, the case was that the VP of Finance had to close the books at the 1st of April. This wouldn't be possible if you have a council meeting in the beginning of April, then the 28 days, it's not possible. So we changed to the 1st of March. There's not a huge change. The VPs of Finance still have 2 months to finish their budget, finish their books, and the old VPs of Finance say that it's definitely possible, and it's no problem. So, that were all the changes. If you have any questions, please say the article number so I can properly answer your question.
Thank you, Tom. First of all, now it's there was a lot of content, and for the ones who haven't been able to or haven't checked out the topic on Quorum and are not really aware of what's going on, I would first like to ask you to raise your hand if you want any clarification from Tom on any of these points, if you didn't understand something. So let's not start the discussion before everybody's on the same page. So let's take these questions first from Tallinn and then the 2 ones on the right. Hello, 1 second. Yep, go.
Hello, I'm Tavi from Tallinn. Regarding the 9.1.5, it said you have to be attending as an observer. Does it count as attending as an observer if you apply for the observer during the council meeting and get the observership status?
No.
All right, that was my question.
Then the next question over there, yeah.
Okay.
Did you have a question?
Yeah, I did.
You didn't your hand wasn't up, so give it first to the 2 ones who had their arms up, and then you can ask your question.
Ines, local group board. I don't remember the number. It's just for you to elaborate a little bit more on that point where the VP of Finance has to send 20 days before and then 7 days before. I didn't understand very well.
Okay. There were like complaints at the last council meeting that people saw the budget for the first time and they couldn't give any options anymore to change it. So we proposed the following change to let the VP of Finance send a draft budget 28 days before the council meeting. So people can already look in it and propose changes to the board so they actually have influence on the budget. And then 7 days before the council meeting, the final budget is sent, which will be proposed for voting at the council meeting. I hope this clears it up.
Thank you. Then we have the question on the back on the right side.
The NLG Belgrade, I have a question about Article 9.1.7. The first bold part, after applying or after being elected as observership?
After applying.
So they don't need to be voted upon that?
This actually means that local groups have to observership at least, I think it's 28 days before the council meeting. So the council meeting they attend where they apply for observer already counts. That's the first one. I hope that clears it.
Luis, wait. No, I didn't give you your turn. So, Tom, do you want to elaborate more, or did you feel like you answered the question? Tom? Okay. Secretary is ready. Do you have any other questions about the content of this proposal, something you don't understand? Clarification. So let's start with Malna.
Hi, Malna, LG Budapest Karlsruhe. I have a question about the project leader application. You said you're going to change it from the to a. So it means like there can be only one project leader at one time of one project?
No, it means like it was the project leader. Well, it was actually, it was the project leader. And like the implies only one. And our project leader is like every project leader.
Okay, Lasse, do you have a question to clarify something, or do you want to raise a point? Okay, so let's take Lasse's question and then...
Hello, Lasse from Lappeenranta, Madrid. There was a point on the project leader, committee leader, and association with a member. I just want to clarification on, does it mean you have to be originally from a member, or does it count if you're exchange student? So let's say if we have like someone who's from Karlstad, which is observer, goes to exchange in Karlsruhe, which is a member, can this person apply for project or committee leadership?
It depends on their first LG on the portal. So if they have the member group as first LG on the portal, like you can change it actually, then it counts. Well, if they are still a member, still part of the member group, like if they are, if they sign up for membership at that local group, which is a member, and don't sign out, then it's possible. It's not possible like if they sign in to the local group where they have exchange and then sign out and then go back to the guest, and only then it's not possible. I hope that's good.
So as long as the first local group is a member, then it's okay?
Yes, and sorry for my not so clear point, but it's also like as long as they're in some way still registered at the other local group, then it's fine.
Okay.
Thank you. Just a technical request, once you have presented your question, turn off the microphone, otherwise we have the echo. Now we have about 13 minutes for further discussion. What I would like to point out first is that these proposals are on the portal. You can find the document posted by Tom on the forum. And we will have 2 discussion sessions on Saturday evening and Sunday morning before the elections. So you really have time to go through them, think about them, and then raise your concerns, your questions in these discussion sessions. So what I would like to do now is everybody who has concerns, points they would like to raise, or discussions they would like to start, raise your hand, and then we will start the discussion. So let's start with Bart on the back.
The internal regulations are also in the booklet that was sent via email yesterday.
Yeah, I was wondering why do we propose so many changes all at once? Because I really see this thing, I really see that people will not be informed properly this time. I think it's too much. So why this decision to do all of these things at once?
The main decision was that we, at the last coordination meeting, we were reading through the entire internal regulations, and we found so many points, and mainly because we informed people already well, or at least you were able to know about the changes at least already for a week. We think that people have been properly informed about it, and because the changes, like the first changes, are not that huge, and the guest group is one large proposal. We think that it should be clear.
Thank you for the question and the answer.
Is it also clear for everyone here? Because I'm concerned. So everyone think for yourself if you will understand this. And if not, I think we should have to look if we can maybe cut it by half and discuss some of the points properly instead of rushing it.
Thank you for raising the point, Bart. I will give the word to Nuno.
Yeah. Thanks, Bart. I think our organization and the success of our organizations is usually led by how dynamic they are and how fast we can change. And if we say we are too slow, that we cannot make all of these changes, we run the risk that as team will become stuck in the past. And Tom already proposed this 1 week ago, and it's on the forum. Everyone could comment on other suggestions. So from our side, we don't see the need for this. But thanks for the suggestion. And if anyone agrees, please also raise the same point.
Thanks for the comment, Nuno. What I would like to comment on now is that it's a bit depressing to see some people sleeping at this kind of point, where we're really talking about the internal regulations, which are the basis for our organization, how this organization is formed. So I would really hope that you pay attention to the discussion, to these presentations, and that you now in your local group go to the forum, download the document, and look at these proposals in detail, and then in the discussion sessions be ready to talk about them. Let's take a comment or question from Jonas.
So, Jonas, LG Karlsruhe, about the amount of different proposals. I think it's okay if we make on the voting sheets very clear which change is intended. To do not only put change in regulation 9.1.5, but really make sure that people understand on the voting sheet what kind of change it implies.
Yeah, that's why we actually put all the, well, it's impossible to put every change on there, on the voting sheet, but the changes plus the elaboration plus the old articles are all in the booklet. So it should be, we've worked quite hard on that, so it should be really clear what is changing. If it's not clear, approach me. Yeah, I hope that's...
Thank you. And then we have one more question.
Sergei, local group Kiev. I would like to go more to the content. So, may I ask 2 questions?
Yes, you may.
Thank you.
But first one, and then answer, and then the next one.
So first question regarding article number 4. about this agreement between board and CM organizers. So what will it bring? What will happen in case the organizers will not follow this agreement?
We haven't put a punishment or something on it yet, because it's just kind of common sense to sign it. Yeah, that's it. I hope that answers your question.
Yes. And one more question. What will happen if the local group will lost guest status? Article 9.1.6. So when they can reapply?
Theoretically, they can indeed reapply, because you can apply for a guest group at any time. But if a guest group, but it has to be approved by the board. So the chance of a local group, a guest group, not applying for observership and leaving the network and coming back as guest group immediately, that's very small. But like if you have like a case like Tallinn, then yeah, then it's possible.
Thank you.
Thank you for the questions and the answers. And then, okay, we have two questions. Let's start with Alina.
Alina, local group St. Petersburg. So I have a question. Why does a person can't become a project leader if he's not from the member local group? Because if you said you can switch to a member local group and be officially registered, but isn't it a bureaucracy? I guess we have Linus, and it's a perfect example. If a person wants, it can be an amazing leader still. Doesn't matter.
That's a good question, but it's actually a completely different discussion. We only decided to make it like the same. The FLC is about making the internal regulations clear. So we like the first proposals were all like small changes, which we did by ourselves, but the large changes, like the guest status, we did in cooperation with the members committee. So we don't decide ourselves to change it, like to change the that you have to be a member for a project leader. Yeah, that's like yeah, it's a different discussion. It's definitely a valid discussion, but we just decided to make it clear, to make it the same, because it doesn't make sense if it's not the same.
Thank you. And we will take Joris' question.
Thank you. Joris, Group Enschede. Yeah, I also overread this, but I think Tiana made a good point. It's a bit weird that it says, for example, in the article behind you, that the period is 3 council meetings after applying for guest status, because applying does not mean that you get it. So maybe it should be after getting guest status, and that's also working in other articles.
That's indeed a valid point. It, however, doesn't really affect anything, since they're still voting on the council, from the council on the observer. It's in another article, but it indeed might be good to. It might have been good to change it to election, but to when they're approved. But
well, the point is, if you are applying for guest status and you don't get it, and you apply again a year later and you do get it, then if you read it now, then the term was already started at that first moment.
Thanks for the point. I don't think it needs to be, or do you not want to answer it?
I'll talk to you personally about this.
Yeah. So there might be an interpretation question. So do we have a question in the back? Okay, Luis has the word, and then we will finish this topic for now.
Well, at least for the guest status, the thing that when you apply, that's when they approach us. They only get the status when they're officially accepted. So if, for example, a group approaches us before this council meeting, then it's not the first CM is not Budapest. It's the first CM straight after they have been accepted. That's the first one. So it's when they're officially accepted, that's the first one.
Thanks, Luis, for the comment. And Joris, do you need to comment on this now, or can you continue this discussion later? So no, okay. Then we have one comment from the live stream. Could you bring the microphone to the front? Or Tom, could you give the microphone?
It's from me, Pekka from Oulu and Porto. Why is the limit for the Article 4.1 6 months before the council meeting? 4.1. It says that it has to be signed at least 6 months before. But if there is no local group applying for the council meeting, then it's going to be selected 6 months before the council meeting.
Indeed, that's why we had 6 months. So if there's no application at the previous council meeting, there's still a possibility for groups to apply at that council meeting and then sign the agreement immediately. Is it clear?
Okay, thanks for the questions and comments, and Tom for the answers. So now we will close the point number 26, proposals for changes in the internal regulations, and open point number 27, proposal by the board for change of the board year term. And as the dance for this, we will all do it together with the board and with you, so get up. Please silence. Shh.
Okay. Have to catch some breath again. So, the next presentation is about one discussion which has been going on in Esteem already for about 7 months. It started already 2013 and we it more seriously for the past 7 months, since before the last council meeting. Before I start and actually show you what our proposal is, I'll just tell you a little bit more information, how our board year looks like. So, we're elected in the autumn council meeting, and then the board is in charge officially after the 1st of January. Then there's the spring council meeting, which usually takes place in the last week of April, or middle of April. The evaluation of the work, the budget approval. Then again, we come to the next autumn council meeting where we are now, for example, we elect the next board, and it starts all over again. We will get discharged on the 31st of December, or our mandate will end on the 31st of December, and the next board will start from the 1st of January on. So this is how it has been in Esteem for the past 20-something years. It used to be like back in the beginning that the boards will start directly after the autumn council meeting in October, November. But yeah, it was roundabout always around the civil year, so January, December. And then had the idea already last year, some Esteemers started discussing how about starting the board year during the summer, because in the end, we are all students, and this is a student organization, so our life in general is run together with the academic year, our school year. So be it when you start school in the summer, like August or September, October, but usually that's your life cycle. Your life cycle does not usually go from January to December like company, but together with the school year. So we decided to invest in what will be beneficial for esteem, and what will be the benefits, what will be the disadvantages, how we could make the transition towards this, and that's what I'm going to explain you now. So first of all, we went to see, okay, how are other student organizations doing? Maybe we don't have to reinvent the wheel, and we can learn from them. And I sent a survey to the members of this international student organizations and got back 11 replies. And here, as you can see, most of them do have this year that they start in the summer, so between July, August, or September, and only here, 2 of them start in January, that is Esteem and one other. So it seems like this is already being done in other organizations. So we went to see, okay, how is the availability of our local groups? And we have this spreadsheet where we keep track of when local groups have vacations, holidays, semester, exams. And here you can see the graph of the dispersion of the vacation time. So again, here between these weeks, 27 to 35, which is July, August, it seems like there's a lot of local groups who have vacations. So for instance, week 31, that's about 80% of the local groups who have vacation time. While in January, there's not so much vacation time. So we thought, okay, looks like we're on the good path. Seems like this might actually be fitting to Esteem. Also on this LG availability, we wanted to check off, okay, they don't have, local groups don't have vacations, but maybe they have exams instead, or still with the vacations they have exams. But also here we noticed that there's also this a slope. So indeed, during this period, it seems like there's almost no semester, especially in August, which is the blue lines, and less exams than in general in other periods, which is the red, those are the red bars. So it seems like according to the availability of the local group, this will be a good period to start, because also when you start the board year, that's when you're more busy and you have to do the handover and all of this. So it seems like it will fit more. Although it's not the optimal solution for everyone, because as you can see, still some local groups have some exams. It will never be a solution that fits everyone. So we discussed this during the past months, and the summary of all what has been posted on the forum, on our portal, we have this pros and cons. So main pros in favor of having the change will be that this goes along with the academic year. So it will make easier for boardies to coordinate their studies. This means I'm starting my studies, let's say in September. If I'm starting my mandate on the 1st of January, I'm starting it in the middle of the school year. It might not be the middle of the semester, but it's between semesters. So I might, and I'm not studying like the second semester of last year, the summer one, I was not studying because I had to dedicate my full time to Esteem. And this usually happens with boardies. This is not a personal case. And we thought that it might be easier to dedicate your full time to Esteem if you dedicate like one whole year instead of one semester in 1 year and then another semester of the next school year. Also in the summer, as I said before, it's the least active time in Esteem, so there's the less activities. Usually people are doing some other things, so that will be a good time for this transition. And yeah, the same term as other student organizations also helps us align together with them so that we have better cooperations. Main points against this change will be that the transition will be difficult. The board handover period will still overlap with study time in some countries, as I said. Doesn't fit, it's not one solution that fits all, of course. Could interfere with summer jobs. That in some regions in Europe, a lot of people have jobs in the summer and they have to apply earlier in the year, so they might already have applied for a job when they apply for the board in the spring council meeting. And of course, this does not solve the problem that boardies in Esteem still have to commit a lot, but it's some way of making it to make this commitment and that they have more time in the end to commit to a team and contribute. But not only boardies, but maybe other parts of the organization if we change for them as well. So next step was asking, so what do esteemers think about this? And we asked this question, according to your personal and study schedule, in case you were interested in applying for the board, which time of the year would suit you better? We got 69 answers from 35 different local groups. So here it's also important to note it's not half of the local groups even replied, but I guess the most active esteemers who wanted to contribute had a chance to give their opinion. Here you can see 53 of the respondents said they would like to apply during the spring council meeting instead of the autumn one and start during the summer, versus 10 who would prefer to apply like we have it now. So it seems like for esteemers this will also be a factor influencing their motivation and their availability to apply for the board. So, our recommendation as a board after studying this for this long time is that if we change this, starting the board year during the summer, this will lead to more commitment from the boardies, so more effort put into esteem, and it will lead to better handovers during the summer period, which is also very positive for esteem because as our organization is rotating the management team every 1 year, handovers are very, very important. So yeah, recommendation from us is to vote and to choose to start the board year during the summer instead of starting it in January like we have it now. How can we make this? We also studied several options for this transition period. We could have reapplied for another 6 months, something like this, but then we already also have our own plans for our lives. We also asked the board possible applicants for board 2015 if they would like to apply for 6 months or 1.5 years to make this transition, but they were also not interested because they have their plans. So we're planning on making this change after next year. And we thought so that the best is to have a transition board that will be elected in 1 year at the autumn council meeting in November 2015. They will start working in January 2016, and then they will finish their mandate around summer that year. Yeah, so here this also gives the chance, this 6 months board or half a year board, also gives chance for the next boardies. If they want to reapply for 6 months, they can do it. Or if they go for this 6 months only, they can also reapply for another 1 year. And maybe this gives, if someone is willing to do that, then there will be somebody staying for 1.5 years, which is good for the cohesion and making this transition period more smooth, of course. So what's our action plan? Here at the council meeting, we're going to vote about our intention, whether as team and the General Assembly, the council really wants to change this, and to which option we want to change, when to start during the year, during the summer. At the next council meeting, CM Baltics, in the spring, we're going to vote to change it in the statutes. So today, or this council meeting, it's an intention from the GA, and if the intention from the GA is clear after the council meeting that there's the need for a change, then the next board will prepare exactly what needs to be changed in the statutes and vote at the next council meeting. And then in the autumn council meeting, there will be the election of this transitional board. So now what you really need to decide at this council meeting, what we propose, is to vote for these following options. This will be on your voting ballot, that after 2015, the board of esteem will start on the 1st of January until the 31st of December. If you vote for this, it means you don't want to change it. Then we also added the starting in June, July, August, and September. You'll get a chance to rank your preferred options. So the voting system in esteem is like this, that you vote, okay, this is my first preferred option, you put 1, then you can vote for the second most better option, 2, 3, 4. And then in the end we can see, we will not get a clear picture exactly after the voting. We will not know what's the best option directly because we have to study the results and see what fits better in general for everyone, because maybe the second best option might be better than just eliminating this. I mean, if many local groups state, let's say, June as second best option, that's maybe better than that it's the second best option for everyone than the first option for just a few, let's say. So this will be studied and analyzed after the council meeting, the results. You can also abstain if it doesn't interfere with you, you don't care, there's also this chance. Yeah, I hope it was clear, and now we have some minutes for the discussion. So thank you very much for your attention.
So, like before, we do it so that we start with questions about the content, some clarifications that you would like to hear, and then we can discuss the actual content. So let's start here in the front.
Hi, Alex from LG Bucharest. My question is regarding the transition period. So from what I understood, for the transition, after 1 year of being, the bodies can reapply for another 6 months. But what happens if only some of them want to reapply, others don't? What will happen with the other positions and people who want to apply for positions which may or may not be still occupied for the transition? Hope I'm clear.
Yeah, we always elect boardies individually. So if some of the boardies from next year want to reapply for 6 months, then the other positions of the ones who don't want to apply will be vacant and other people can apply for them. The most likely scenario is that no one of them wants to reapply and we will just have new people for 6 months.
Okay, thanks.
Because it's not very common in STEAM that people reapply.
Okay, so can I ask one more question regarding this?
Yes, you can ask. Hold on. We need some time for the secretaries, and then you can ask.
Sure.
You can lower your hand. I will tell you when you can ask a question. Okay, you can go.
Okay, so in that case, there's a high possibility of a board that will work only for 6 months, right? Okay, that's all. Thanks.
Okay, then we have more questions. All raise your hand who have a question now. So this, just to clarify, only about clarifications in the proposal or on the presentation. Okay, let's take these 3 questions from the back left, starting with the first one. Yeah.
Hello, I'm Pablo from LG Madrid. Once the new board is elected, the handover takes place from the council meeting until the new board is present, or does it take in the last month or something?
Yes, exactly. So let's take the example now. We will elect the next board on Sunday, and the handover will take place between the next weeks in November, December, until the 1st of January. We also have a handover board meeting where the 2 boards meet for 1 week and have a knowledge transfer.
Thank you. Next question, hold on.
Hi, Daniel, LG Stockholm. How does this affect the agenda of the council meeting? Will it be too filled during the spring meeting and too little during the autumn? Do you get my question?
Yes, I think the effect will not be very big. It's not relevant, I would say. But thanks for the good point. Yeah.
Thank you. And then we had one more question in that group, and then...
Jonas, LG Siegen, am I allowed to just comment on it?
Yeah.
Because in Siegen we just did this change. We changed our local board terms. So we had it from January, we changed the board in January. And now we're having it in July, and it really works pretty good. We had the transition with 1 board only doing half a year, and it worked out quite well. So there's actually no real problems doing this. Thank you.
Thanks for the comment. So again, questions about the content. We have this beautiful lady in the front.
Sarah, LG Karlsruhe. Maybe you can state your opinion about this. Do you think there's a loss in efficiency when you got a new elected board just for 6 months, because kind of they start their work, they set their goals, then it's their first CM, and then already stop working, so they couldn't really maybe achieve their goals they set themselves?
Yeah, definitely. A 6 months board will never achieve not as much as 1 year board because you just get started, but that's the point, that it's just a transition board. And yeah, we have to accept that there will be maybe loss of efficiency and not so much done in these 6 months, but we think this is better in the long term for Esteem. It's something a disadvantage for this beginning, the transition, which will come back to us in positive results in the future.
Again, I would like to ask, are your questions about clarification on the presentation, or do you already want to comment or ask questions about the content or the proposal? So you want on the first one, okay. So we take this question and then we go on to the content of the proposal.
Sebastian, local group Hamburg. Everyone talks about 6 months, but when we show the option with September, it's 8 months, right? So yeah, just to clarify that.
Yes, that's it's actually half a year roundabout, let's say, between 4 or, I don't know, 6 and 8 months, yes. Thanks.
Thank you. So now, all other questions? I had one from Pekka. Yeah, Pekka can start, and then we go backwards with Jukkis and then the back row.
Pekka from Oulu and Porto. What is the impact to the financial year, which is still from January until December?
Yeah. According to what we studied so far, it should not have a big implication. You can also change the financial year accordingly. So that's also, or you just leave it the same. So that it can change together with the financial year or not. It doesn't have to go together, let's say. Right, Tom? Yeah.
Hang on, let's take the microphone because we have questions anyway from the back. So we have a comment on this from Tom, and then we continue with the questions.
Tom, local group Eindhoven. The financial year impact still has to be researched, but there will first be, the board will first check whether the council wants to change the board year at all.
Okay, thanks for the comment. So, let's take this question from the middle first, and then go to the back.
Jukkis from local group Lappeenranta. First of all, I love secretaries. And did you consider the change the same, or at the same time, the period for project leaders and the committee leaders, since most of the people applying for board are doing their job at that?
Yes.
Place?
So for project leaders, they get elected either in the spring or the autumn, and they start directly after the council meeting. So there it will probably not have any impacts. For committee leaders, if we want to keep it the way it is now, that they get elected, they start at the same time as the board, their periods will also have to change. But this also gives an opportunity to evaluate whether we really want the committee leaders to start, or if we want to have it a little bit 6 months apart. It's something we have to evaluate after taking this decision.
Thank you. Then at the questions in the back, so let's start with Elias, and then on the right side we had a couple of questions.
Elias, local group alumni. I have, thank you for this really great research. I have just one question on the statistics. Is it like some regional differences, or is this like, that would we exclude some regions? So some regions are saying, okay, no, the summer is for me not an option, because that's the question. Okay, is it same good for everybody, or do we now lose all our Maltese local groups because of this change?
I didn't check that exactly, but I guess these exams in August, for example, that's probably some German local groups, because I know that it happens for them, that they have some exams in this time. But it's still like it's the end of the year and not the middle of the semester. It's still the middle of the semester, but not the middle of the school year, let's say. So, if you get what I mean. Yeah. We don't know. We can look into it, but yeah, I'll try to look into it, and if it's relevant, I'll mention it during the next days.
Thank you.
Thanks.
So then the questions from the right, from the back, we have one from VWI. Do we have yeah, you can start, and then think Orhan what's the next.
So yeah, you did this chart with this time when the local groups have free time and so on, and I think the 6 people in the board may have some more time and so on to change and do the handover time and so on, but I think it's more efficient if the boardies have the handover time in winter when they may have to have some tests and so on, but then they finish their handover time, and the time in summer when everyone has time and all 8,000 esteemers want to do events, then the board is already started and they can just go to events, and it has more impact on the whole esteem.
Well, thanks very much, Hauke. But what happens in practice in Esteem is that the summer is the time when we have the least activity in Esteem. Maybe it makes sense if you think it, like you said, summer, maybe people have more time for Esteem, but in practice it happens that people just go somewhere for vacations and they don't do much for Esteem in these times.
Hey, so basically what happens during the summer, there is, except for the college, that would also probably change with this change because of the whole dynamics of the board year. There are almost no coordination meetings or anything like that. So there is not much work done. There are more like fun events and events for personal development during the summer. So not really relevant for the board to be.
Thanks for the comments. First to HWE and to Rade. Secretaries, do you need time or? Okay, so then we can continue. I think, did Orhan have a question? No? Anyone have a question? Okay, so let's take Mark and then from the front, and then I think we're done.
Mark, local group Groningen. If I understand correctly, all the local groups are now going to vote upon which date is best for them. So I want to ask, you have the overview of the whole Esteem. Which date do you think is the best for Esteem in general?
Yeah. Well, we don't know this yet, so I don't want to give a recommendation and influence the decision. The idea is to get the opinion of the local groups and what's best for them, and then with these results, we compare it to what will be best for Esteem in general. I mean, with the results, we will actually know what's best for Esteem in general. Yeah.
Thank you. And then we had here in the front a question. And then I see actually 3 hands raised. So let's take the question first, and then I will tell who gets to speak.
Hello, João Correia, local group Aveiro. What about the financial controllers? Will they change also during that 6 months and keep with the board?
I think the financial controls will go along with the financial year, but we didn't check this yet. But that's not a difficult change to make, anyways.
Okay.
Thank you for the question. So we had 3 hands raised. We can take these 3 questions, and we start with Pekka, but then we really don't have any time anymore. So Pekka first.
Pekka from Oulu and Porto. So what are we going to vote upon on CM Baltics? On a specific time, or do we have multiple options then? And are you going to select one time interval for the board year? Or can we propose more during CM Baltics?
No, so after this council meeting, we will vote, at this council meeting we vote at the time period for the board year. Then after the results, we cannot calculate it already on Sunday, but the boards, together with whoever wants to be involved, will decide how to interpret these results from the opinion of the local groups and choose a date. And at CM Baltics, we will vote about implementing this date already. Yeah, and how it is implemented is this is how it's written in the statutes, that the association and the financial year run from the 1st of January until the 31st of December, and the board members are appointed for the length of 1 association year, so it will just be a matter of changing this article.
Thank you. And then we take the 2 questions from from the back. And that's it. Left first.
Hello, Denitsa, local group Sofia. So there is already some inequality in STEAM, meaning there are many local groups, let's say in Germany or don't you think that this would really affect this change? I mean, then at some point you would have many people that voted for, let's say, 1st of August, but these are people mainly from the same region. So shouldn't we maybe give some guidelines to people according to what your, let's say, professional opinion is? Because of the comment we had maybe just 2 questions before. Yeah, so my question is basically this inequality in STEAM local groups, don't you think this would be affected in this vote?
Well, this will positively affect some local groups and negatively affect some. So this balance between local groups will change. But if we have the opinion like this will change for the majority of them, it will be good. That's good for the organization in general. But the thing is also that this is just it doesn't affect the boardies and maybe other parts of the organization, but it's not directly affecting the life of the local groups.
Thank you.
Thank you. And then Sergei.
Sergei, local group Kiev. I have a comment on the idea to have this 6 months board. So from my own experience of being project leader, I know that handover period, that's not something that will just take you one chat or one event. So there will be a lot of questions which will appear in 1 month or 2 months later. That means that the real handover period for this transit board will take few months. And after that, these people who were worked like just for a couple of months, they will need to give proper handover to the next board, who will be elected for a year. So don't you think that it could affect a lot to the quality of the next board?
Yeah. What we thought is that the board 2015 can then also help the 6 months board give the handover to the other board, which starts in the summer again. So this information doesn't get lost. So board 2015 can help with the handover to the 6 months board and then help again with the handover after they're finished.
So then...
Thanks for the question and the answer. Do you have another question that's really important? Because otherwise you will cut the time from the coffee break.
Okay.
Okay, thank you. And Jonas, you had your arm up if your question is really important. Okay, so we will continue because we have to hurry to the coffee break. So, thank you, Nuno. Thanks for the questions. And time to close point number 27, proposal by the board for change of the board year term. And open point number 28, regional coordinators report.
Okay, guys. Yesterday you heard already something from Luis about the regions. Now you can see all the lovely regional coordinators. Besides Alexandra, she's missing, but Stefan, here, he's replacing her. Okay, now I will start to tell you something about my region, the Alpine region. If I can get my slide, maybe. Okay, here we are. Okay, yeah, my region is the Alpine region. Last year we already talked about like the goals that we achieved, or that we set. Now I want to tell you what we. So during the last months we had 5 regional chats where mostly like 7 LGs attended, and I also had a chat with each local group personally. We also organized 2 recoms, one in Graz in January and one was in October in Milan. They were really successful and we had in total 9 LGs present. 11 LGs out of 12 organized an event, or at least one event, was really nice to see. And we managed to have more trainings in the region. That means we had many trainings at the Recom and TOTs in our region. I implemented the cultural exchange session, which means that at the Recoms, every country presented something about their culture, not just the food and the drinks, also a bit like about history, maybe politics and typical habits. It was really fun. And yeah, last time I told you that the Alpine region is in the baby shoes. Now we are growing and growing. We have an Alpine spirit. We have a shirt, as you can see. We are about trying to have a song as well. And yeah, we also have some improvements. Shortly, I want to say, like Catania, they will now apply for observership and they organized an event. And for example, Zurich, which is currently pretty weak, but they are restructuring. So I hope in the future they are really motivated and active.
Hello everyone from my side. My name is Stefan from LG Skopje and I was regional coordinator of this awesome region during the last year. And since Alexandra had some health issues, unfortunately she is not here, so that's why I will present the latest updates from this region. So what is interesting for the Balkan region is that it is the biggest region currently in STEAM, with 13 local groups from 7 different countries, and also at the moment we are having the biggest amount of guest groups. We have 5 guest groups, Cluj-Napoca, Targu Mureș, Niš, Sarajevo and Split, so that means it is pretty much hard to take care of all those 5 guest groups and all the members and observers that we have now. Since council meeting Istanbul Bozaci until now we have 1 guest group, that Niš from Serbia. The Balkan region took place in Bucharest, Romania, where the representatives from each local groups had the opportunity to work together in order to improve the cooperation and improve the communication even better. It's worth to say that 70% of the local groups from the Balkan region organized at least 1 event. During the council meeting in Istanbul Bozaci, Bucharest got warning, but now we all agreed before the Balkan Recom that we really need to help them in order to save them. So that's why the Balkan Recom was there and we really had some awesome time there. So thank you, LG Bucharest. And during the last month there was an informal gathering in Novi Sad, and at the beginning of the year there will be a motivational weekend that will be organized by LG Novi Sad. Thank you very much.
Hey, my name is Laine, local group Riga Helsinki, and it was a real big honor to be Baltic Regional Coordinator of this year. So shortly, all of you know that it's the first time ever when the region is organizing the council meeting, and that's what we are going to do next spring, and you see the logo, Council Meeting Baltics, woohoo! We organized awesome regional coordination meeting in Minsk. We had the best event of the summer organized by me, my mom, my dad, Farming Activity Week. Yes, we had also awesome motivational weekend in Riga. And you know what? We got local group Tallinn back. Woo! And we are stepping the first steps in cooperation with BEST. That's after visiting 2 regional meetings and getting those people together. Alina, can you see yourself? Yeah, and we have a new song, and we have improved our t-shirt. And about visiting local groups, me and Rade have visited all of them. That's super cool. And I have sent also out 2 regional newsletters where is detailed information about local groups and activities and things. And we are going to have also the 3rd regional event in December in Tallinn. Thank you.
So, hello everybody, I'm Andres, I'm the regional coordinator from the Iberian region. So, all the Iberians, basically we organized a really beautiful recon in Barcelona, which was a great time. My accomplished goals were basically more productivity, more cooperation, more motivation by making a big team out of the region. Now everybody knows each other. People is like more friendly, and they share everything they are doing. They share documents and they share information. Now the local groups know what the other local groups from the region are doing, and at the same time they can manage better in advance what they want to do. We also have launched a contest for a t-shirt design, which is actually going right now. So you have the chance to send your ideas. We are waiting for your proposals until the 1st January. We also organized a motivational weekend in Seville, but that was before Istanbul, so we talked about that before. And of course, we had the coordination chats and reports up to date. And of course, we will still have it because we still have like 2 months of regional coordination. So of course, we will still updating all the information and taking care of everything. Thank you.
Hi guys, my name is Reyhan from local group Istanbul ITU. I'm currently responsible of the region which has the hottest members ever. And also the region which has the hardest name to pronounce, Mediterranean region. We have amazing 11 local groups in our region. Some of them were newly growing and needed my help more, but some of them were really strong local groups and didn't need me that much. But still, I tried to be there for all of them during this year. After CM Istanbul Boğaziçi, we have organized an amazing motivational weekend in Istanbul with 20 people. And after that, we had Recom in Izmir with 40 people. We had LR chats, 4 informal gatherings in Istanbul. But all in all, I strongly believe that this year we have built an amazing spirit, friendships, and motivation within our region. I'd like to thank Rede for all his support, and thank you to my local groups for trusting in me. I hope that you guys keep being as hot, as motivated, and as amazing as you are in the future. Thank you.
Okay, so hello everyone. My name is Martina Kosmala and I'm from LG Helsinki. For this year, I have been coordinator for 12 awesome LGs from Nordic region. Okay, so our region is the second biggest region in STEAM. We have 12 local groups, 1 from Norway, 6 from Sweden, and 5 from Finland. During this year, we structured a lot our weaknesses and strengths, and then try to solve the problems during recoms and chats. The summer was a little bit more peaceful in our region since everybody is working. But we started this autumn with Nordic Recom in Helsinki. We had 4 days of really beneficial trainings and discussions. And we got a lot of input from different LGs and made a lot of guidelines how to solve the similar problems in different LGs. This year has been really amazing to work with all Nordic people, so I want to really thank everybody for that year, and I hope, guys, that you will get better and better in STEAM and our region will become even stronger. Thank you.
So, hello guys, I'm Emilia from LG Warsaw, and I have to make it really, really fast because we want to sing something at the end. So what happened after the CM in Istanbul? So we had two amazing events. First, in Berlin, when we had really difficult tasks because we had to find something in common, because my region consists of German and Polish local groups, and it was really, really difficult task, but actually we did it, and we show it tomorrow what it is and what is more. I was able to achieve regular communication with my elders, and I can see that there is more communication and more cooperation. And thank you guys for this year. It was really, really also working with you. I know that I was like pushing and annoying you sometimes, but I hope that you're enjoying it as much as I did.
So hello everyone, my name is Mark from local group Aachen, and I'm the regional coordinator of the Northwest region. Yeah, so what did we achieve during this year? We had in total 2 regional events, the Motivational Weekend in Groningen and the Recom in Aachen taking place 1 month ago. We also had one awesome informal gathering organized by all the German local groups together and partying in a train. We had 2 regional chats and a lot of personal chats and contacts. We managed to write a regional song. You heard it a couple of times today. We made a design for a t-shirt, but the t-shirt is still not ready yet. It will be ready till the next council meeting, I hope so. Increased activity in the region in January because every local group in the region organized. Well, Cambridge has its event in the beginning of January, but let's count it as it is. And yeah, we made some important steps in reactivating Cambridge. They are coming with 2 delegates on the weekend here, and the event is now on the portal and you can apply. So that's it for the region, and now we have some nice performance for you to show you our great spirit.
Thanks a lot for the performance and the presentation, RCs.
The other way around.
No, we are not on the picture. Okay. Would you like to tell us about the regional coffee break?
Okay, guys, so now we are going to have regional coffee break, and as I know, you have on your NATAC the name of your region if you don't know it yet. And I don't know how it will work. Maybe some organizers knew better how we have to organize it.
So I guess we will just start the coffee break like normal, and then each region will search a place, and you have to inform your region then where you will meet. Because, or do we have some organizer who could tell where these regions can meet? Yeah, so in the hallway.
Yeah, so the regional meetings will be where the S-Team fair took place, on the corridors, and like you will have some papers, maybe you will shout that. Yeah, look for your regional coordinators, the shirts, here on the hallway.
Okay, please stand down, sit down, because we have to officially close point number 28. And we will dance into the coffee break, everybody in the regional style.